Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Alan Colson from Clemson's Geology program. And today I'm here to talk to you a little bit about our geology program so you can know more about what geology is like, what career options are, and what the major is like. And so those are kind of the main things that we will go through today. Start by talking about what is geology. Sometimes there's confusion about what does and doesn't count as geology. Second, I'll talk a little bit about different career opportunities in this field. And third, I'll talk about the major itself so you know what kind of things you would get to do if you choose to major in geology at Clemson. So let's get started. First off, what is geology? Geology is an applied science. It takes principles from lots of other fields, including chemistry, biology, and physics, and applies them all to the study of the Earth, which is what geology focuses upon. Earth is the only planet we currently have to live on. So it's important to our society to know as much about the planet as we can. It's the only home we have. Now, a lot of people get their sort of mental picture of geology from movies and TV shows, and as such, they get some very interesting ideas about what constitutes geology. One thing to be clear about right up front, though, is geology is not just about staring at rocks or drilling for oil. You can certainly focus on rocks or oil exploration as career options, but there's only two small parts of geology. It's actually a very broad field with a lot of different career paths, and a lot of them help study things that can address major problems that affect people's everyday lives. Let's look at a few examples. One thing that geology focuses on is natural resources, both finding them and helping develop the ones that we need. While most people immediately associate geology with oil, a lot of geologists also focus on mineral exploration and mining, but also water resources, making sure that people have access to clean and sustainable water supplies so that they don't have to rely on buying large volumes of bottled water every time there's a problem with a local water supply. Geology also involves a lot of environmental studies. Whenever there are environmental issues that come up, such as the Deepwater Horizon disaster, or having to clean up sites that have been contaminated and released harmful materials into the environment, a lot of the people that help deal with those problems and fix them come from geology programs and have a background in geology. Geology also studies a lot of different types of natural disasters. When these kind of things occur, we often think of first responders and their very important role in helping people. But behind the scenes, you have a lot of geologists that are helping to predict different types of disasters, plan for them, and figure out strategies so that they will have the smallest possible impact on people's lives and can help get things back to normal as fast as possible. Geology also then involves assessing hazards and trying to spot things before they can occur sometimes, or help stabilize and clean up situations after they occur, such as landslides, rock falls, and related types of hazards that can affect people's homes, transportation routes, and have other big impacts on society. Geology also plays a big role in studying climate change. A lot of the long-term data sets that help us understand how Earth's climate system can change over time come from studies done by geologists. So yes, even though most people associate climate change with meteorology or atmospheric science, geology provides crucial data, and a ton of the studies done on Earth's climate system are done by people with a geology degree. Geology also includes topics such as surveying sites for construction and development, trying to make sure that you are building in areas that will be stable, as safe, and a good area to develop versus ones that wouldn't be as useful or might have serious hazards associated with them. All right, so now that we're starting to get an idea of what geologists do, you may be wondering, how does geology differ from a couple of other degree programs that are offered at Clemson? There are some that overlap a bit, and they're the Environmental Sciences Natural Resource Program and also Environmental Engineering. So let's take a moment and compare these three. When you're majoring in a program that centers on natural resources or environmental science, you often focus on studying the interaction between humans and the environment. As such, these programs tend to incorporate a lot of human relationships and perceptions in the natural world. People that are interested in careers for things such as working for state or national parks or programs where there's going to be a lot of community interaction will often seek this kind of degree. Geology, on the other hand, is a natural science. As a science, you're going to primarily be involved in developing and testing hypotheses, collecting data to test those hypotheses and see if they are or are not correct. Geology, as I mentioned before, tends to have a very broad range of application to it, and your education gives you a very wide background that covers a lot of different career paths. The third program at Clemson that's often associated with natural sciences is environmental engineering. For this degree, you begin with a traditional engineering education and then choose environmental engineering as your specific field of study. As an engineering program, the focus is often more on being solution driven, trying to find ways to solve and address particular problems rather than collecting data, testing hypotheses, and doing that kind of exploration of problems. Another difference between geology and environmental engineering is that environmental engineering typically will involve more office work than field work, whereas geology, it can be a broad mixture of both, as we'll see in just a few minutes. So, with that, let's transition into part two and talk a little bit about careers in geology. People usually think of geologists as working outdoors, and lots of geologists do spend a lot of time in the field, which is a very big draw to geology as a career. However, you don't have to spend all or most of your time working outdoors to be a geologist. Many modern geologists spend a lot of time working in different research labs or even working in high tech computer labs. A lot of geologists focus on building sophisticated computer models and simulation programs to help study how Earth processes change over longer spans of time than we can actually observe in the real world. So, whether you're interested in working outdoors or indoors, there are lots of career paths in geology that could be right for you. What kind of careers are there in geology? Again, most people think of all geologists going to work for oil companies. But as you can see on the pie chart here, there are actually lots and lots of different industries interested in hiring geology majors. Among all undergraduates who get their bachelor's degree in geology, only about one third go to work for an oil or gas company. The other two-thirds are going into a range of different sectors, whether it's environmental services, mineralogy, mining, doing research, working for state or local governments, education. Lots of different employers are interested in students who get their degree in geology. You can also make a very good living with a degree in geology. Geology is consistently, year after year, ranked by Forbes magazine as one of the top 10 degrees you can get in terms of its value potential. So, out of all the different majors you can choose, geology is consistently one of the most lucrative. Among geologists in the United States, their average salary is around $85,000 per year, which is the highest ranked among any natural science type of major. Careers and job growth in geology has been extremely good. Over the past 10 years, jobs have increased quite a bit, and that growth is expected to grow by another 10 or even 20% in the coming decade. Part of the reason for this is there's an ever growing demand for more geologists, but you also currently have a lot of geologists who are entering retirement age and thus rotating out of the workforce. As such, some professional geological societies have estimated there could be a shortfall of as many as 90,000 geologists over the next 20 to 30 years. So, again, for those students who major in geology and get very good at it, there's a lot of good potential in terms of getting hired and having a lot of choices when it comes to a career. All right, so now that we've seen we can make a good living if we major in geology, let's look at what we have to do to actually earn that major in geology. As a science program, it has some of the same basic requirements that most other science programs would. For example, you're going to need to take 2 semesters of chemistry. You're going to need to take 2 semesters of calculus. You're going to take 1 or 2 semesters of physics, depending on your career interests. A couple of things that are a little different about the geology degree compared to other majors at Clemson. First, there is no foreign language requirement, so you do not have to take classes in foreign language. And second, the communications requirement is covered by some of your geology courses. So you do not have to take the basic, intro to communications type courses for your general education requirement. Some other things to note about the geology bachelor degree program. It is built to be very flexible in terms of its curriculum. And this means that you get to pick a lot of these specific geology courses that you want to take. We do this because, as I mentioned before, geology is a very broad discipline. And as such, we have students who are interested in going into very different types of careers. So whether you're interested in a career in geochemistry, hydrology, paleontology, or geophysics, you're going to get to pick a lot of course electives that will allow you to tailor the degree to the specific career that you're interested in taking. Now, all geology majors do have a fieldwork requirement where you must take at least 6 credit hours of field-based courses. These are courses where, as the name implies, you're going to be getting outdoors, doing things hands-on, learning to apply the knowledge you've had in the classroom to real-world settings. And this kind of training is really crucial and gives you a great leg up when you enter the job market because these are the kind of skills that employers want you to have. These field courses, some of them are done locally here, close to campus at Clemson, but others also allow students to study abroad in other places. We've had courses visit the western parts of the United States, including the West Coast, and also do work in different parts of the Caribbean in recent years. So there are opportunities to travel as well. Each geology major also does a senior research project where they are working with a faculty member to test hypotheses, collect data, sort of do those hands-on things that you've learned about in the classroom, and doing a kind of project that is similar to what you might do in graduate school or when you get employed. Each senior presents their research at Clemson's annual Hydro Symposium, which is an excellent opportunity for you to meet with hundreds of geoscience professionals from around the southeastern United States. A lot of our students come away at the end of the day with at least an interview prospect lined up and occasionally even a job offer made. There are some concentrations in the geology major. Adding a concentration to your degree is a lot like having a minor that's built directly into your major for you. So, for those students who are interested in a career in either hydrogeology or environmental science, you can choose to add this concentration to your degree. It means overall you'll have fewer electives that you choose because since we know you're interested in that specific career path, the faculty at Clemson have already chosen a lot of the best classes that you should definitely take to help you get set up for a great career in that field. So you'll still be choosing some of your courses, just not as wide an array of electives as somebody that does the straightforward bachelor's degree in geology. So, what do our students do after they graduate from Clemson? Well, about 25% of them go to graduate school right away, and the other 75% enter the workforce upon graduation. Among those students who report back and keep in touch with us, almost all of them are employed in geology within 6 months of graduation. So, our students tend to get hired very quickly after they graduate. We've had recent graduates go into a wide range of career paths, including working for mining companies and different environmental consulting firms, some working for DHEC here in South Carolina, and some going into the education sector as well. Last thing to note here is that in a recent survey of college students from all different majors possible, turned out that geology majors were the ones who were most happy with their degree choice. I think a big part of this is due to the fact that geology students know they are studying something they're very interested in and feel very passionate about, but it's also something that's giving them a lot of career opportunities for their future, and they'll be able to help people deal with lots of different problems that can affect our society. So they know they're going to make a meaningful contribution during their career as well. If you have any additional questions about the geology major, I'll be happy to answer them. Just contact me. That's Dr. Alan Colson in Clemson's geology program, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you very much for watching this, and I hope you'll choose to major in geology when you come to Clemson.